What's up, beautiful people? So, in case you haven't noticed, I keep renaming this podcast. I think I started out with Tits and Giggles, but then I matured a little, and then I went to F is for Family. But it's so many. It's like TV shows and all these things. So I was like, but the other day when I read that funny joke about is it in yet? I couldn't get that out of my head. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to rename this podcast to Is It In Yet? And I think that's a perfect name because we talk about everything from sex to money to news to gossip to you name it, we do it. So I like it. So welcome to Is It In Yet? Hopefully you guys never have to ask that question about sex, but about money, about the checks, about the love, about whatever that you've been hoping and wishing and praying for. Is it in yet? Yes. Of course, I'm not going to start off every podcast with this much energy, but I needed to give it to you guys because of this wonderful name change. So let's talk about my day. I went to the gym again. There was a man, I literally, because I immediately go in the gym and start undressing, and there was a man doing maintenance in there, and the worker lady, she's like, put your pants back on, there's a man in here, and it's like, girl, he already in here. I don't really care. I mean, I didn't have my boobs out. I mean, I literally had on my underwear, so it wasn't a big deal. Like, I did not care, but they were freaking out. I was fine. If he ain't seen what I got by now, then, and he was an older dude, he'll be fine. Like, it was fine. So I worked out. I had a good workout. It was cool. Came home. I've been on like this breakfast for dinner kick. So I've been making that like for the past few days. So I did that and did some work and went to sleep as much as I could and woke up. I've been continuously watching The Sopranos. I cannot stop watching it for some reason. I don't know. I love Tony Soprano because he's so much like he's an uncaged, unraged animal who's trying to like do right in a world full of. He's got these people that don't respect him between his wife, his kids, the men that work for him, and just constantly trying to get respect. And his mom, he had to deal with his mom pretty much not loving him in his mind. But I like through the whole process he's going through therapy, and he's such a brute. He doesn't know how to communicate his emotions, and I think that that's like to me the biggest like the best part of the show is him doing therapy because what mobster is going to therapy, and this was The Sopranos. So I find it interesting, and even in Tony's therapy sessions, even I get some help. But no, I just like it. I love the way he protects his family, and even though he's a big softy, but of course all the infidelity and murder. I mean, what can you do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So I keep watching that, as I said, and just planning to weekend away at the lake. I want to do that coming up here just to get away. And I did not say I say declarations every day, and so I hadn't said it yet since I've reversed my day. So I was out taking out the trash. Yes, sometimes I do take out the trash. If my trash starts to smell, I can't wait on my husband. Like, I have to immediately do it. So it was dark. I went outside and I was saying my declarations. And so, sometimes, especially if an outside is so super creepy. So I like to definitely talk to God when I go outside. One, I kind of feel one with nature, and two, I kind of feel the most alive. And so I'm going to share my declarations that I say every day. This is Psalms 91. So I say, I declare that I will dwell in the shelter of the Most High God. I declare that I will find rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I declare that God is my refuge and my fortress. I declare that you are my God in whom I trust, and with great confidence in whom I will rely. I declare that God will rescue me from every trap and protect me from every disease. I declare that I am covered and protected by his outstretched arms. I declare that God's faithful promises are my armor and my protection. I declare that I will not be afraid of the terrors of the night, nor the arrows that fly in the day. I declare that I will not dread any disease that stalks in the darkness, nor any disaster that strikes at midday. I declare that because God is my refuge and the Almighty God of my home, no evil can befall me, no plague can come near my dwelling. I declare that God has ordered his angels to guard, defend, and protect me and my house. I declare that God's armies to heaven will keep me from falling. I will walk unharmed and kick anything that's evil from my path. I declare that because of God's love for me, I will call upon him. He will set me above all my troubles. He will deliver me from all my fears, and he will honor me with his presence and power. I declare that he will reward me with long life, and he will show me his salvation. Psalms 91 equipped. And I've been saying this for like 2 years, and I've had most of it memorized. Sometimes I get stuck, but I really like the part about the house, because when you're outside at night taking out trash and it's creepy, you want to say that. You want to definitely say that I declared it because God is a refuge and the Almighty God in my home. No evil can befall me, no plague can come near my dwelling. And that anything that stalks in the darkness, like, is not going to be happening. I declare that God has armies in heaven. I declare that God has ordered his angels to guard, defend, and protect me in my house. That is definitely something you should be saying every day and over you. And that I say it every day in, my protection, because listen, whether you believe or not, speaking things into the atmosphere is so powerful. We go around like little ants doing our jobs, driving, all the things that we take for granted, and it is not by accident that we are still here. And when we are opening up our mouth, we should be doing at least a portion of your day with some powerful statements, whatever that may be to you. It was foggy here today and just misty and creepy. And I just think like of just the weather and all the things, and we're just these little ants in this sky, and there's this weather, and there's seaweed blooms and blossoms and this and that, and it's all so many things always going on. And here I am just taking out my trash in the dark and just thinking like, thank you, God, for, I guess, not letting the big seaweed blossom get me, or just anything crazy. Like, I came home this morning and my husband said something was like left open. So I'm the person that literally goes through every closet and cranny in my house and stabs in the dark and stabs because I'm waiting. I'm not waiting. I don't want this to happen. But if you are a woman, and I have lived on my own before, that is just like my second nature. Like, if you come home, your garage door's up, if you don't check every part of your house, you're insane. And I know that negates what I just said as far as believing, because I do believe, but don't mean no fool. Because faith without works is dead. So let's get into this news, guys. So creators from TikTok were at the U.S. Capitol. They do not want TikTok to get banned. The CEO tells Congress that the app is safe and secure and should not be banned. Trump's hush money case is going to reconvene on Thursday. DeSantis is moving to expand his Don't Say Gay law to Florida high schools. Son of mom suspected of killing romantic partner says he's been waiting for her arrest his whole life. So Ryan Donahue always believed the bad stuff would catch up with his mother. Last month, Donahue learned that his mom, Sarah Hartsfield, has been indicted on a murder charge in the death of her husband nearly 5 years after she killed another romantic partner in a shooting that was deemed justified at the time. It's unreal seeing my mom in a jumpsuit now, Donahue, 22, said in the first interview since the indictment on February 3rd. I've waited for it my whole life. Sarah Hartsfield was charged with first-degree murder in the death of Joseph Hartsfield, 46, her fifth husband, who died in January, more than a week after he was hospitalized near Houston. His cause of death hasn't been released. He may have had too much insulin in his system. An affidavit in support of a search warrant says Sarah Hartsfield has pleaded not guilty and is being held in lieu on a $4 million bond. A lawyer didn't respond to multiple requests for comment. He has previously said Hartsfield maintains her innocence and will assist in the investigation. In Facebook messages shared with NBC, Hartsville complained to a friend about her husband's financial irresponsibility and said she had nothing left. Years in 2018, Hartsville fatally shot a man her son said she had been engaged to, and officials ruled that it was in self-defense. But 6 days after Hartsville arrest this winter, a Minnesota prosecutor announced that he was re-examining the death of her fiancé, David Bragg. Hartsville, 48, has been married 5 times since her mid-1990s. Her children, Donahue and his 3 sisters, are from her third and longest marriage. According to Donahue, a postal worker, his family has followed a grim path that includes allegations of abuse and doomed relationships, 2 deaths, and allegations of a murder plot. One of his sisters confirmed his account, fearing backlash. She asked not to be identified. His father declined to comment. Donahue said that his mother grew up in Sedalia, Missouri, a small town 90 miles southeast of Kansas City, and that when she was younger, she was in and out of foster care. Donahue knew both sets of her foster parents and considered them grandparents, he said. After 2 failed marriages in the 90s, she married Donahue's father in 1999. They'd met in Alaska and were later stationed together at Fort Hood. Both were in the Army. Christopher Donahue, who served from 1996 to 2020, retired as a master sergeant in the Sputnik. I don't wonder if I'd known them. I was at Fort Hood during that time. Hartsville served from 1997 to 2017 and left the service as a sergeant first class. Ryan Donahue was mostly raised in an upscale neighborhood in Belton, Texas, between Austin and Waco. From the outside looking in, things looked great. We grew up in an environment where how you were presented meant everything. You always say yes, ma'am, never question anything. He described his mother as the smartest person he knows, someone who could change the world if she put her brains to doing the right thing. She's also physically and mentally abusive, he said. When his father tried to protect him and his siblings, Ryan Donahue, my mom made his life a lot harder. A longtime friend of Ryan Donahue's, who asked not to be identified for fear of his safety, who's after him, the lady's locked up, recalled that as a kid, Donahue would miss school for long stretches and said he was sick. Years later, the friend said Donahue confessed that he'd actually been bruised so badly that he couldn't go to school. It would be easy to say, why didn't you call for CPS and get out of the situation? But it was more than physical abuse. It was psychological. She literally lined all the kids up and tell them there's nothing you can do. Go and try and tell someone, they won't believe you. Donahue never reported the abuse, which he said lasted into his mid-teens. His mother later apologized and said she'd been hard on her children because your dad made me unhappy. Hartsville lawyer didn't respond to requests, but we adamantly denounced the misinformation that has been provided to the public regarding her past. Donahue said he moved to South Korea in 2016 with his father. 2 years later, Christopher Donahue filed from divorce from her, and Ron Donahue said he returned to Texas to live with his mother and sisters. By March, Sarah Hartsville was in a new relationship with David Bragg, a former Air Force mechanic who's working as a contractor at Fort Hood. In December of that year, Ryan Down, if you recall, his mother told him her new boyfriend had well-paid solar contract in Minnesota, and the family would move there within days. His older sister was no longer a minor and stayed in Texas. They moved into what Donahue described as a large fixer-upper in Douglas County, a rural area 150 miles from Minneapolis. The couple were briefly engaged, but the relationship deteriorated. Donahue said he clashed with his mother's fiance, whom he described as physically abusive, and who he said once slammed him into the wall after he had a disagreement with his sister about whose turn it was to use the restroom. His sister recalled their mother saying that Donahue, then a junior in high school, deserved it after he got in David's face. In another instance, after an argument during homework, Donahue said Bragg knocked him down the stairs and pointed a rifle at him as he ran from the driveway. Bragg's brother Daniel said in text message that he didn't believe his brother was abusive, but added, if there is any truth to it, that's incredibly sad. On May 18th, Hartsville fatally shot Bragg in their home. Donahue said his mother told him she had gone to grab clothes for his sisters when Bragg became upset, believed she was leaving them for her ex-husband, who traveled from South Korea to Minnesota to surprise his sister for her birthday. I took the beating of my life for letting my child see her father, but Hartsville said at a bail hearing. She said that Bragg opened fire and that she had not dived to the floor, he would have struck her in the head. I blindly fired. I didn't aim. Citing forensic testing and witness account, they found that she acted in self-defense and declined to file charges. After she was indicted in February, the prosecutor said the case was active again. As of Friday, the case was still being investigated. Bragg's family has challenged Hartsfield's account, saying in February the man she describes is not David and he was well known and loved. Donahue still wrestling with his mother's account of shooting. At one point, he said he believed her. At another, he said he wasn't sure. To be real from the outside looking in, it's got to be crazy coincidence to go through this not once but twice in less than 5 years. After the shooting, Sarah Hartsfield married her fourth husband, David Gorge. For a time, the couple lived in the home where Bragg had been killed. Donahue's father also remarried, and the court records show the aftermath of his divorce. Hartsfield turned increasingly hostile in 2021 when Christopher Donahue leveled in an alarming accusation his ex was planning to have her husband kill his new wife. According to affidavit and support a request for a restraining order he filed in Texas where they were divorced. He alleged the plot was aimed at derailing his efforts to get custody of their 2 minor children, so I would be busy dealing with death to focus on fighting for my girls anymore. Hartsfield's new husband is alleged to have told Christopher Donahue that she had given him a gun and was pressuring him to carry out the act. He told me he would lie to her about it as to why it hadn't happened yet. The FBI investigated and says a federal agent that they monitored the home and had a close patrol, but no charges were found. FBI hasn't responded to requests for comments. Effort to reach George, Hartsfield's fourth husband, has been successful. At the bail hearing, Hartsfield said George retracted the allegation, which he accused him of having made for retaliation purposes. 2 months after Christopher Donahue signed the affidavit, a judge issued a restraining order barring his ex-wife from contacting him and his family for 2 years. Even before the order was issued, Hartsfield had filed for divorce from her fourth husband, according to records. Ryan Donahue said that when he asked his mother about the allegations, she denied them, saying George was a monster who lied about everything and was in cahoots with your dad to take away the girls. Donahue met his mother's fifth husband only twice, he said, and the last time he saw her, it was in December when she visited his apartment in San Antonio. The trip was supposed to be brief, but it stretched into weeks and ended badly. Donahue said with his mother scolding his roommate after he complained that she left the mess on their stovetop. Knowing Hartsfield was armed, the roommate locked himself in his room until she left. Donahue said Donahue is grappling with how to feel about his mother's arrest. He doesn't know whether he's supposed to feel sad. He said often he feels nothing. If there's conviction and she pretty much gets the ultimate punishment, whatever happens next is between her and God. That was a lot to read, and I'm sure that this will be a movie if this lady, like a Lifetime movie, if she is found guilty. Looks like it could be a toss-up, but the fact that her own children are kind of turning on her, it's not good. Not looking good for her. So in Florida, there's a family in Florida of a cheerleader that was stabbed 114 times by a teen, and she's speaking at the sentencing. I'm like, is this her? Did she lie? I guess she is alive. No, she's got to be dead. Alexis Bailey drops 114 stones into a jar to represent each time Aiden Fucci stabbed her sister Tristan. Okay, so her sister spoke. Aiden Fucci didn't just take Tristan's life that day. He took everything from us, said her sister of a 13-year-old cheerleader who was fatally stabbed 114 times nearly 2 years ago in Florida. Tristan's family provided emotional accounts Wednesday during the sentencing hearing for Fucci, who has pled guilty to the stabbing. Fucci was 14 at the time. Alexis Bailey, who was the first to take the stand, dropped 114 teal stones in a glass jar to represent each time Fucci stabbed her younger sister. I have nightmares about that moment. In my dreams, I try and reach out and grab her, beg her to spend the night, anything to prevent what happened just hours later. Yet every time the door closes, I can't reach her. She said that on May 9, 2021, she became physically ill as detectives told the family that Tristan had been killed. Our family broke that day, and I don't recognize any of us anymore. Alexis said another sister, Brittany Bailey Russell, said they suffer from PTSD. Russell was on her honeymoon when she learned that her sister was missing. Agony isn't painful enough. Shattered to the core doesn't crumble like how I feel. Infuriated isn't even close. After each family member spoke, they dropped a white stone into the jar to represent what Fucci took for them. Tristan was found dead in the woods in Jacksonville. Fucci was 14 at the time and told authorities that he got into an argument with her, pushed her to the ground, and after they had left a friend's house before dawn on May 9. While he was still considered a witness, he snapped a selfie in the back of a police vehicle, flashing the peace sign, and posted, "Hey guys, anybody seen Tristan lately?" Wow, the dude's... Other friends and family of Tristan's also spoke during the sentencing, hearing her brother Tegan Bailey say he had breakdowns and feels like he failed his sister because he didn't prevent her death. Stacey Bailey, Tristan's mother, was tearful while speaking. "The sleep deprivation has taken a toll on me mentally and physically. I do not recognize the person looking in the mirror. They said they love your very existence and know there is nothing within you that reflects the smallest goodness." Fucci was arrested on May 10th on a charge of second-degree murder. Days later, a grand jury indicted him on first-degree murder, with the state attorney R.J. Larissa charging him. Fucci is going to be tried as an adult. Prosecutors said they would seek the maximum penalty of life in prison. So young, so angry, and so callous, and the fact that he snapped that selfie, like, golly, that dude needs some help. So 5 are dead in reported California storms. There was a tornado. See what I'm saying? This weather, we just out here, and tornadoes are happening, all kind of stuff. Lots of murder and mayhem today, guys. Oklahoma toddler twin drowns in a backyard pool after grandmother leaves door open. You know, my husband was just talking to me about a pool, and that's just one reason why I wouldn't, especially to have little kids over. It just would scare me so much. Let's see. So Gwyneth Paltrow is on trial for a ski collision. Let's see if we can play this so I don't have to read after this commercial break, of course. But she's supposed to testify Friday. Her children are also expected to take the stand. So let's see if this will play. Of course, it's just stuck. It's just like, why, you know? They just want me to keep reading. But so 2 doctors on Wednesday described X-ray and brain scans and neurological tests documenting the medical condition of a man suing Gwyneth Paltrow for a 2016. Wow, this is a while ago. After his accident, he deteriorated abruptly. He was 76 years old. They called medical experts to try to persuade jurors that the collision left their client with irreparable, life-altering injuries. Sanderson, who is a retired optometrist, has been described in court filings and initial days trial as a man who frequently skis at the end resorts and travels internationally. Still, his attorneys have worked to frame the celebrity lawsuit as a David versus Goliath struggle, with her older but active client injured by the actor-turned-wellness tycoon's negligence. Gibby, a radiologist, said brain images suggested Anderson's head trauma was likely caused by a skier crash into him, supporting Sanderson's claims that he was hit by a Paltrow. I'm not about to read all this, but he once, there was an earlier $3.1 million lawsuit that was thrown out and said that he wasn't entitled to that, and that he amended his claims and now wants $300,000. Listen, Gwyneth had to know this is coming, because when you're famous and you cause something like this and the person lives, oh yeah, you definitely are getting sued. So I did not know that Dick Van Dyke was still alive, so don't kill me. But he's 97. And he hit a black wall while driving in Malibu. I don't know. I mean, Dick is still driving out here, y'all. Y'all better be careful. But he was driving on a slick road, they say, last week in Malibu when he crashed into a block wall. No other vehicles were involved when Van Dyke hit the wall. It's like Dick Van Dyke is still alive and driving and crashing into walls. This is wild. Well, Be careful out there, you Californians. Let's go on to see what else is going on. I'm going to cut this short too because we have been reading a lot. And you guys might get some podcasts this weekend because I actually have to work. So I might be up for a little chat or two. Nothing really amazing is going on. Chuck Woolery. This Wheel of Fortune. I don't know what's going on over there on Wheel of Fortune, but a lot of people are saying that the puzzles have been wrong and people weren't getting their winnings and just a bunch of weird stuff happening over there. I don't really watch that stuff every now and then, but it's like that's a show that can completely put me to sleep because, I mean, it's just boring. The Wheel of Fortune. It could be the host, though. So Rick and Morty, Justin Roiland, who's the creator, his domestic violence case was dismissed, although he was fired from Adult Swim. I wonder if he'll get his job back. Other than that, man, it's just kind of the recycle of the same news. So I looked up a few funny Reddits or interesting Reddits. Let's see if I can remember what it was. But they were pretty interesting. One funny question was, what's the girl equivalent of getting distracted by a woman boobs? So dudes get distracted by boobs. What are ours? Mine would be gray sweatpants. Like gray sweatpants for me. Somebody said the forearm. I almost got hurt at work once because I got distracted by bulging forearms. Forearms are nice. Someone says hands. I don't know what it is about them. I do like a rough hand, but his nails have to be clean. But I do definitely like a rough, strong, veiny hand. Somebody said voice can be very distracting. If they have a deep voice, I'm going into a different land. The voice can catch your attention. A nice voice. Somebody said smell. A good smelling man. Yeah, it could be. This lady had it all. She said shoulders, chest, eyes, arms, hands, legs, butt, waist, fashion, voice, laugh, dance, smile. I can't count the times I've noticed something attractive. Like, you didn't listed everything at this point, lady. I like the voice, yes, and I like a nice walk. Like if you got a swag walk, that was what had Denzel. Denzel had women in a chokehold by his walk. Let's see what else we got here. But yeah, those are interesting. Let's see what the men are talking about in the Ask Men. So this was interesting. What are some toxic feminine traits you have experienced? And I found some of these replies interesting, but so this guy said, my first wife just treated me like an income. I've experienced that. When I tried to curb her spending, she demonized me and told me, everyone who would listen, that I was treating her like a child. Interesting. This one was interesting to me, being absolutely vicious about their friends behind their backs while acting very supportive to their faces. Immediately makes me think everything she says is insincere. And a lot of women do that. They be like all in your face, and then behind, men do it too. Let's not play. But women do that too. They'll act and then they'll just talk all trash. I was laughing at this. My ex used to slap me and then be like, you can't hit me, I'm a girl. That's wild. That's kind of chuckling at that. Tell me to show your feelings and then get told you were too sensitive and told to be a man. Yeah. Becoming a victim when caught in the wrong, manipulative, pathological lies, gaslighting, love bombing, silent treatments. I know my husband felt he did not like, so I told you guys we went to this comedy show and the women's line was super long and all these women kind of barged in on the men to use the bathroom, and he was like, men would never be able to do that. And I mean, he's right, but I guess that would be an example of how women kind of get away with things. But I thought that was kind of interesting. What are some things you suspect women never tell men? That they faked an orgasm so you'd hurry up and finish. Yes, that is true. I have definitely faked some orgasms for sure. You gotta boost that ego up. Sorry, guys. What they really want for dinner, what they really want in bed, what they really think of you. This is the thing about that in bed thing, like, especially when you get married and, like, of course you're into it, like, you should be into it, but sometimes when you are just trying to just have sex, it ain't no just instruction time, man. It's like, let's both have this orgasm so we can go to sleep. So it's like, yeah, she could tell you, but sometimes, like, to me, every sexual experience doesn't have to be a production. Like, sure, it's great, but not every time. They have an escape plan ready if they ever have to leave you. Everyone should have an escape plan, men or women. When they fart and how often. That is very true because I'm the queen of silent farts. And it helps me that I have a dog, so. Some things they talk about with their friends, where they went to eat, their part in the breakup. Yeah, I mean, a mature person will tell you their part in a breakup, but I mean, do people really tell you the truth on everything they do? Like, if somebody said, "Oh, I broke up," and what parts did I contribute? They might tell you, or they might downplay it, but you can bank on that. Every girlfriend ever has said they do not talk to their friends about sex life, but they all have. I feel like guys do not do this as much. Yes, we talk to our friends about our sex lives. I'm talking to my friends now about sex. You guys. The amount of friends that hit on her behind his back, the amount of men in her DMs and Facebook Messenger that flirt with her, she's not exactly encouraging this behavior, but she's not blocking them or turning them away. Listen, you cannot tell a man every time somebody hits on you, dude. Like, you'd be every day with this crap. Like, I mean, especially when I was a young fox, I'm not gonna tell you every time somebody messages me or DMs me. Like, she's an adult, she can handle it. Like, I mean, why would you want a report of someone telling you every time they get hit on? It's kind of crazy. Weight and body count. Even though there's a push for acceptance over these things, the reality is that women still feel shameful about it. Of course. If you just attracted to my curves or whatever, just be attracted to that. You don't need to know the number. Now, if we was getting on something that had a weight limit, I'm gonna tell you, but that's about that. Yeah, those are interesting and funny, some of them. Let's end on this one. How do women feel about circumcision? Schism. They spelled that wrong. As a woman who sleeps with men, I don't care either way. Hygiene is the only thing that really matters, and good hygiene may be slightly more time consuming than uncut, but if it's clean, I'm into it. I've had partners for both. As a person who's not religious, it holds no significance. I have had an uncircumcised wiener, and it was interesting. It was clean, but it kind of just like, I mean, it was deep. It was nothing, like, it was interesting. I don't know. It was just like, I mean, it looked like, it just looked the same, honestly. It just had some hanging skin. It's kind of like, I don't know. It wasn't like terrible. Um, Anytime I've weighed in on this subject, it has become involved getting scolded by men. Personally, I prefer uncut because they're wetter. You don't need lube or hand jobs. I'm assuming it's not common as I've slept with 10 men and only one was circumcised. Either way, if one day I have a son, I'm not going to mutilate him. It will be his own choice if he wants to have it done as an adult. Yeah, we live in society in America. We do circumcisions here, but I never knew that they get wetter. I guess I didn't pay attention that much. I mean, they're weird with the condom, but I didn't know they get wetter and all this stuff. Interesting. But yeah, it's just more skin to clean, but most people that have them, I feel like they should know how to clean them. Uh Does it hurt being kicked in the vagina? That's a funny one. No, it doesn't actually. Unless you just hit it right on the right bone, I guess. But no, it does not. Um, yeah, I mean, these things can go on, and I've been reading to you guys for a minute. So I'm going to take a break and come back. Like I said, I'm going to more than likely do one on the weekend and one not. So we'll live this up because I got to work this weekend. I'm going to be off tonight, so I will not be here tonight to tell you guys anything. But is it in yet? I love saying that. We'll be back after these commercial breaks. And when I say that, after this day off. You guys that have your weekends off, enjoy it and have an amazing, blessed, safe weekend. And I will be reporting back to you shortly and certainly. See ya.